with new vehicles arriving daily. Visit buyhyundai.com today.
Since 1922, the Houston Zoo has welcomed generations of families, connecting them with nature. Through the years, their mission has expanded to saving wildlife across the globe. The rich past, the exciting future, the legacy of Houston Zoo. KPRC2 presents the Houston Zoo, celebrating 100 years.
Welcome to the Houston Zoo, located inside the beautiful Herman Park. The Houston Zoo is one of our city's treasures, and they're celebrating 100 years.
Back in 1922, there was a park here. Herman Park had just been established a few years before that. And some animals were brought here. Actually, one animal, a bison named Earl, was the first official animal here at the zoo. And it was just part of the park. But at that point, there was a desire to do more. There were a lot of zoos that were actually being built around the United States at that time.
Early on in the history, it was a matter of just putting up 4 walls, right, to contain an animal. And you could see the animal all the time. It didn't have the trees, it didn't have the plants, it didn't have the vegetation that was there. And so as the zoo has grown over the years, they've realized there's a better way of doing it. So we want to make sure not only are we giving them the proper room and space that they need, but it's the plants, it's the vegetation, it's the sight lines, places that they can go and feel safe and secure, but people can still see them. So as we are building new areas, they're getting bigger areas, fewer animals, but we want to make sure that we're giving the animals the space that they need and the habitats that they need. And that has changed a lot over the years.
Moving from what was called the taxonomic zoo, where you had kind of all the similar animals living together, all the cats in one area and all the birds in another and all the reptiles in another, which is one way to display animals. But we're interested in showing ecosystems and habitats from various parts of the world. So we're going to continue that. We've kind of started with Africa. We've done a number of African exhibits, but we'd like to expand that.
Good zoos care about their animals. They treat their animals like first-class citizens. They treat the visitors like they're guests to their house. And then they help save animals in the wild. If they can do all those things, then it's a tremendous asset, a community treasure.
We are really a zoo for all Houstonians and even international or other national visitors. So we offer a place in center of the city of Houston that people can come and find these majestic oaks, magnificent animals, and really enjoy a special day with their family.
They have done some amazing things with providing world-class attractions on those 55 acres where it seems as though you're on 155 acres. They've been finding ways to be creative, be innovative, and at the same time, taking the time to really care for these animals.
We have a new modern zoo where we're taking the very best care for animals. And when you can see that, when the animals are happy, the guests are happy, it makes my job a whole lot easier.
Obviously, with the pandemic, we had to reduce the number of guests that we could bring into the zoo at any one time. But people are coming back. And last year, we had almost 2 million visiting the zoo. This year, we expect about the same. And so one of the things, it's not just the numbers of people, but it's the diversity. One of the things we're so proud of here is that we're a zoo for all. And you can see it when you walk around the zoo. This really is a reflection of the Houston community.
You bring your little children here and they grow up with the zoo, and then they bring their kids and their grandkids. And I think that legacy continues. As the zoo gets better, the community gets better.
There are thousands of animals from all around the world here at the Houston Zoo, and some who even call Texas home, like right here in the Texas Wetlands exhibit. Great people also make the Houston Zoo what it is today. We spoke with some longtime zoo employees who say this is their family.
I started in October of 1981, working in large mammals, and I'm currently the curator of herpetology and entomology.
I started actually as what they call the zoo docent, was a volunteer teacher. That didn't really go too well for me. I really wasn't really good with kids at that time, so I basically became the first Houston Toad intern back in 1982. And so I worked the Houston Toads and was eventually hired on in 1984 in Small Mammals, which is now Natural Encounters. And Memory came in 1990, so our director at the time, John Whirler, and his wife, many times would let Memory go and play with their granddaughter, or we were allowed to bring her here in the back of the reptile department or into the commissary with a playpen. So she was plucking grapes probably at the age of 3 for the birds, you know, and it was like you try to tell a 3-year-old, don't eat them, those are for the bird department, you know. And then several times she'd come over here with Stan and then pretty much grew up at the back of the zoo. So I guess it's sort of in her blood. From there, she became a zoo crew, interned, and 10 years later, almost, voila.
I work with the giraffes, the rhinos, the zebras, pretty much anything that has a hoof that's not part of the goat yard or the elephant area, that's what I get to help take care of. One of my favorite things about working here is the people who I work with on my team. We all really rely on each other, and especially in the hoofstock world, we have so many animals that we're constantly making sure that everybody gets taken care of and everybody gets the right amount of training that's required for that day, so that we can provide the best animal welfare for the animals that we care for.
Years ago, there were so few of us that there was such a camaraderie. We were a family. There were like maybe 60 or 70 of us. With Stan and myself and Memory, there's 88 years of zoo service here, and we're just assuming she's going to be the next life for the family.
She still refers to the aquarium curator, George Brandy, as Uncle George.
I started in May 1981, and I really like working here. It has been a great experience for me. It is something that I thought that I would never be able to do. It's been a real positive, and I like just the camaraderie that we have. The employees that work here and the people that I've had a chance to work with are really great people. And I think I'm one, but you know, there's been a whole host of people that have worked here in the past and that are currently working here that have done their level best to make sure that the Houston Zoo is where we are today.
Coming up, a pivotal moment in the Houston Zoo's history and more when we come back.
Ready, set, go! The amazing bed sale at Rooms to Go Kids and Teens ends Monday. Get sweet savings on kids' beds starting at $2.99. The coolest looks and styles. A great selection, all in one place. Get super sale prices on theme beds, beds with storage, shop bunk and loft beds, save big on bookcase beds, and upholstered beds. Fun, functional, colorful kids' beds on sale and ready to go. Just hurry. The amazing bed sale at Rooms to Go Kids ends Monday.
Rooms to Go. Xfinity Mobile runs on America's most reliable 5G network, but for 30% less than T-Mobile. So you have more money for more stuff. This phone, fewer groceries. This phone, more groceries. This phone, fewer concert tickets. This phone, more concert tickets. And not just for my shows.
Switch to Xfinity Mobile for 30% less than T-Mobile. New and existing customers get amazing value with our everyday pricing. Switch today.
Fort Worth, St. Angelo, Houston, Austin, or Del Rio. I gotta go. I got Texas in my soul. Partner, the rest of the world ain't worth. I found a good old Texas dirt. I gotta go. I got Texas in my soul.
HEB partners always go the extra mile. Some even go 4 million.
I got Texas in my soul.
Celebrate National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day and be a hero to homeless pets. Adopt or foster a pet during Houston's citywide event this weekend only. Adoption fees are reduced or waived for your new furry best friend. Scan the QR code for participating shelters.
As easy as a Friday movie night. As easy as a Sunday supper. Zero makes electricity easy with fair prices, simple plans, and no surprises. Zero Energy. Electricity made easy.
The Houston Zoo is celebrating 100 years, and one pivotal time in the zoo's history came 2 decades ago. It took a leap of faith and a special partnership with the city of Houston, and it was a game changer.
I came to the zoo in the year 2000, right from the Walt Disney Company, so it was a big change coming from a theme park to a zoo. But I was recruited by the Parks and Rec director that was here at the time, and they had big plans for the zoo. But the key thing, the deal was if I came, they would let me put together a task force to privatize the zoo, which means the city would still own it, but they wouldn't operate it like they'd been doing for the last 80 years.
The zoo's cost of maintenance was going up faster than the city could afford. And they wanted to appoint a task force to consider what to do about the future of the zoo. The mayor had appointed a good group, people in the zoo, people outside the zoo, on the task force, and we met a number of times. And we finally came up with the idea of a privatized operation. A woman named Suzanne Nimitz, who later became chairman of the zoo, was running the McKinsey office, and she agreed on a pro bono basis to do an analysis of zoos in the United States, especially those who had become privatized. And that became the factual basis of our case. And it really worked out very well. And we then put together a board composed of people who had been involved at the zoo and a lot of outstanding people from the community who were interested in the zoo.
Once we privatized in the year 2002, we became much more attractive to outside donors. So we built the wildlife carousel. We did something fun for the kids. And then after that, we renovated some old exhibits, like the bear exhibit. Then we started working on Africa. That was a big project.
But we have a 34-member board, and our board is really responsible for oversight of the finances, the strategy, the people aspects. So really the health of the zoo to ensure that it's around forever, say for another 100 years.
The collaboration that the City of Houston, City Hall, has with the zoo is one that I think works very well for the people that the zoo serves and the 6,000 animals that are there. And as a result, you are seeing the zoo constantly innovating, enhancing what it offers.
Getting the zoo privatized, getting the right people in place. It was almost 2 years to do that, and working with the city, so it was a win-win for the city. And we took the zoo off the city's hands, you know, and made it a much better zoo.
Come out here about 9 or 9:30 in the morning when the school buses are letting out. And those bright-eyed kids are running in here to see these animals and learn more about it. And you'll see what the zoo is all about, really.
The Houston Zoo senior veterinarian, Dr. Joe Flanagan, has been doing his job for nearly 40 years. His passion for his work, as well as the animals he serves, is inspiring.
When I started, we were literally working out of a donated building that was donated by Chicken Shack Restaurant. The table that we ate lunch on was the same one that we did surgery on, was the same one we took x-rays on, because there was one table. So now we have 5 veterinarians, 5 technicians. We take care of all the animals, everything from the invertebrates, the aquatic species, the bug house, all the way up to the great apes and elephants. The way animal care at the zoo has changed is probably the greatest change that I've seen. Another exciting thing at the zoo, to me anyhow, is not at the zoo. It's what we do in the field. So back in the 80s, the National Marine Fisheries raised baby Kemp's Ridley sea turtles, and they got eggs that they were laid in Mexico. They were hatched at Padre Island National Seashore, and then there was a Head Start program, and 2,000 baby turtles were raised for a year until they were about dinner plate sized, and then they were released into the Gulf of Mexico. That went on for a little over 10 years. As a part of that, all those turtles were marked. Fast forward to 2010, and a sea turtle was on the beach in Galveston that had been hit by a boat, and its shell was broken, and it had lost about 1/3 of the back half of the shell. It was brought into captivity, and I was asked to come look at it. We could see with our ultrasound that I could take into the field, because we have that. I was able to see that she had eggs, and we knew that she had a serious injury that was probably going to be life-threatening. it looked really bad. We gave her pain medication, gave her antibiotics, we put her in a tank of water. She started popping out eggs left and right. So those eggs were scooped out of the water as quickly as possible. Of the 67 eggs that she laid, 58 of them hatched, and so those were released in the Gulf. So she started healing, and her tissues closed over, and her wound healed completely with scar tissue. It was almost a year after she came in that we released her in the bay. Well, it turns out she had a little white patch on her shell, and that little white patch indicated that she was one of the babies that we put in the Gulf in 1992, sorry. So in 1992, I was helping raise sea turtles in Galveston as a part of my job here at the zoo. And she came back. And I've always had the best job in the world. It's, again, it's a new zoo every day. There's something different, there's more to learn, and I hope to stay for a lot longer.
The Houston Zoo's ultimate mission is conservation. Coming up next, see how you can help the Houston Zoo save animals in the wild.
Great careers happen at great companies. Work at AutoNation, America's largest and most admired automotive retailer. For endless career opportunities, industry-leading benefits, and a great work experience, visit jobs.autonation.com and go be great.
This is a paid advertisement for legal services.
A car crash can happen anytime, including early mornings, late nights, or on the weekends. That's why the law office of Terry Bryant is available 24/7. If you've been injured after hours or on the weekend, don't wait until Monday to call a lawyer. A serious accident demands a fast response, and the sooner you call, the sooner they can help. Call Terry Bryant, nights and weekends. 713-973-8888. 713-973-8888.
Texas, now's the time to get a Ford built for you, by you. Pick your color, your wheels, and other available features specifically designed for your Ford. Want an F-150 with a 12-inch touchscreen? 400 horsepower and Explorer, or a moonroof? You got it. And now 1,000 bonus cash on top of all public offers when you custom order. See your local Ford dealer. Order F-150 and get 1,000 bonus cash, 1,000 accessories cash, plus complimentary maintenance.
Ford is the best in Texas. You have cancer. Sure wasn't expecting that. Not with these two. But my team at Texas Oncology has been right there for me. They said my family is a huge part of my treatment plan. Well, I'll tell you one thing. Right here is where I want to be. I'll see you in the morning.
Great careers happen at great companies. Work at AutoNation, America's largest and most admired automotive retailer. For endless career opportunities, industry-leading benefits, and a great work experience, visit jobs.autonation.com and go be great.
See them, save them. That's the mission of the Houston Zoo, saving animals in the wild. And their conservation efforts are already making a difference. And you can help.
So we're a conservation organization. We're helping to save animals in the wild. And now the new exhibits and new facilities that we're building here at the zoo really tell that story. Whether that's through direct conservation work that we're doing, supporting researchers and conservationists in the field, breeding rare animals here at the zoo. Sometimes we can actually reintroduce them to the wild, like we're doing with our prairie chickens and Houston toads right here in Texas. And the other thing that we're doing with all of our major new exhibits is we're connecting it to conservation of those real places in the wild. So for example, we've been supporting conservationists down in South America who are helping to protect and save the wildlife of the Pantanal region. And that's the story that we're telling as people go through our exhibit here. So we're basically, and you see it when you come into the zoo, we say, see them, save them. And basically, just by coming to the zoo, you're helping to save wildlife because you're supporting the work that we're doing around the world. And we're also hoping that people come away from their zoo visit understanding that they can do things in their individual daily lives that will help save wildlife as well.
We had a conservation department that was one person, and it exploded into many people and went from maybe $50,000 a year to now it's at $6 million a year, you know, of money that is given to field conservation and programs and education. But the difference is in the culture, in the mindset of every individual that works here. They know that they're here for one reason, to save animals in the wild. But to do that, people have to have fun, there has to be great experiences, but the ultimate vision and mission of the zoo is understood by every one of the 400+ employees that work here.
One of the first projects I became involved with really were the zoo parties and the Asante Society, which everyone can join, and it's open to everyone in the city of Houston to do this. And through that involvement, I was asked to do the gorilla campaign, to build this fabulous exhibition to preserve our gorillas, because we are losing them in the wild. And that's a very important aspect of the Houston Zoo, is conservation. And there are many breeding programs that are done here that are Texas native. The Atwater prairie chicken, for example. The toad's habitat is being destroyed, and it's incumbent upon us to keep them alive and reintroduce them into areas that are being developed.
To see Atwater's prairie chickens back in a flock on the refuge when this species was down to literally a handful, a couple dozen birds in the world. Now they're still out there, they're still at the brink, but we still have time and we're still working with them. To see the Houston toad go from nobody detected in the wild to hundreds being detected this year, largely in the places where we have placed millions of eggs and tadpoles. It's cool. Everybody at the zoo is involved. It's not any one person's project. We've got a conservation department, but conservation is all of our business.
Come and see the zoo to understand about conservation and to understand the wonders of the world, because it's all right here.
When you see tapirs and otters and capybaras and all the animals that you see in the Pantanal here, you know that they're ambassadors that are helping to save their species in the wild. And bringing those conservation field people to the Houston Zoo as part of your family is what makes this zoo such a great zoo.
See them, save them. That's, I think in the end, that's what we want everyone to come into the zoo to understand. A visit to the zoo is an act of conservation.
Now we'd like to introduce you to a very special volunteer. She's been giving her time to the Houston Zoo for more than 40 years.
My name is Maggie Wegner, and I'm a volunteer here. I've been here since September of 1981, and I work with all kinds of animals, but my first love are spiders and reptiles, especially snakes. The first one that stands out in my memory is Gorn. He was an Argentinian black and white tegu lizard, and he was my first love. I just adored him, and I had the best trainer that worked with me, and what they did was they put a leash and a halter on him, and I was able to walk around with him on that. And he was smart. The people loved him. They could come up and they could touch him. I want everybody to be able to touch these animals, because children especially learn through touching, texture, smell, sight. They have to use all their 5 senses. And then they allowed me to go in the Zoomobile and go to different classes and talk to the students about the animals that I brought. I feel very fortunate, because this way I can let the people know what they can do to better our planet, how they can help conserve, how they can help with ecology, with conservation, with making sure these animals are always here, and not to be afraid of what they don't understand. If they can learn more about something, then they won't be afraid of it. You're going to make your memories here. You're going to see animals, learn about animals that you may never have learned about before. And here you can see them, which is wonderful. You can read a book and learn about them in a book or see a movie, but to be here where they are is a whole different experience. And I think it's one that everybody should experience on this level.
Still to come, exciting things are in store for the Houston Zoo's future. Get a sneak peek when our celebration of the Houston Zoo's 100 years continues.
Pop it like it's hot. 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 Pop it like it's hot.
Pop my $5.99 classic and spicy 50-50 popcorn chicken combo. Only at Jack in the Box.
Even though some things are far away, we plan for them ahead of time because they're important. When it comes to your celebration of life, it's really no different. You want to plan ahead now so your family doesn't have to later, and create a service that reflects your values, character, and traditions, no matter what they may be. At Dignity Memorial, we listen to every detail and make sure everyone is remembered.
It's Chevy Truck Month, and it's time to add the perfect accessories to your new Chevy. Make it bolder. Make it work harder. Make it your own. Find new possibilities. Find new roads. Very well-qualified buyers can get 0% financing on most Chevy pickup trucks. Plus, now during Truck Month, get a $1,000 accessory allowance toward the eligible purchase of a new Chevy truck with accessories. Chevy drives Texas. Find new roads.
Thinking of selling your house? I'm JR with selltojr.com, and I'll buy your house as is. I'll give you a cash offer within 24 hours. Selltojr.com makes selling your home easy. We buy houses in any condition. We can work through any situation. With selltojr.com, there are no strangers walking through your house, no closing costs, no commissions, and no repairs. Go to sell2jr.com for your free, no obligation cash offer.
My classic and spicy popcorn chicken with 100% all-white meat chicken and good sauce.
Pop it like it's hot. Pop it like it's hot. Pop it like it's hot.
Pop my $5.99 classic and spicy 50-50 popcorn chicken combo. Order on the Jack app today.
During the past 100 years, the Houston Zoo has been constantly evolving and creating new exhibits for families to enjoy. Right now, they're working on the Galapagos Islands exhibit, set to open in 2023.
So we've been working on a master plan for the last 5 years and opened a whole bunch of new exhibits, but the biggest one of all, and we're so excited about it, is the Galapagos Islands, which will be the first thing you see when you come into the zoo. And it started out as, the idea that we really wanted to do a new home for our sea lions. And then we took it a little bit past that and said, sea lions live around the world in a lot of places, but one place they're found is in the Galapagos Islands. And the zoo has a long history of conservation work in the Galapagos with giant tortoises and with sea turtles. And so we said, let's put those two things together, a new home for sea lions and the fact that we'd love to tell a story about the amazing Galapagos Islands. And so that will be the experience that we're going to be providing our guests early 2023. It'll be open. And it'll be the first thing you see when you come into the zoo. It's going to recreate the lava cliffs and the ocean kind of coming right up to the desert environment of the Galapagos. You'll first see sea lions from outside, above water, but then you'll explore a whole series of habitats for giant tortoises, for sharks and rays, for sea turtles, and even for penguins, who will be, people are surprised to know that there are penguins that live on the equator in the Galapagos Islands, and we're going to be representing that here in this beautiful new exhibit. Biggest thing we've ever done. It's an exhibit that no other zoo in the world has ever attempted to create before. So again, that kind of the unique calling card for us will be not just this beautiful zoo that we already have, but the Galapagos Islands, which will be extraordinary. Just can't wait for it to open.
You won't see old exhibits at the zoo anymore. You'll see things like behind me. It's greener, it's prettier, and then they got the Galapagos exhibit opening up, which is going to be a game changer for the whole industry or profession of zoos.
We're embarking on another strategic plan this year to kind of think about, what are the next 20 or 30 years of projects and improvements here at the zoo.
And there are events throughout the year for the whole family, like TXU Energy presents Zoo Lights during the holiday season. You can plan your visit to the Houston Zoo and find out more about animal encounters and special programs at houstonzoo.org. Thank you for joining us for a look at the history, the animals, and the people that make the Houston Zoo such a special place. Happy 100th birthday, Houston Zoo.